Hey, what's up guys? So today I want to speak about time management and the study journal. They are both study basics, extremely important for your studying, and I want to speak a bit about it because it's something that can really be helpful. Time management should be extremely simple as possible, and it shouldn't take more than 10 to 15 minutes. I usually do it in the beginning, in the first session of the day, and I plan ahead all the objectives that I want to achieve. I usually note them down in my notebook, and I will give you an example of it. So this will be my journal, and here you can see the hour efficiency and how I measure it throughout the day. The columns, I will just go ahead and explain them very quickly, but they are sort of self-evident. So here you have the objectives. Of course, this is the objectives that you write down. This is the specific day in which you are going to pursue that objectives. Here you have the results. You can write them down as you go, like as you achieve certain things and you're like, okay, I should stop this. Very important, with the objectives, you want to put also how much time you're going to dedicate to that objective. Give some perspectives. Okay, you don't need to be extremely precise. You don't need to count the 5 minutes precision. You don't have to have that type of precision, but you should have some sort of sense of how much time you need to achieve that certain thing, and to be able to be realistic in the time that you need to complete certain tasks is absolutely key if you want to succeed in college or high school or even in the workplace. It's absolutely fundamental that you have a clear idea of how much you're gonna take to do certain things and objectives. So I would recommend just write it down, and it's gonna be just an indication, just an hypothesis, let's say, of how much it's gonna take to complete that specific task. So you just write, I don't know if you can see, but you just write a number very close to the objective, the specific objective. And then of course you have the results. I already explained what this is. Here you have the evaluation of the day. You do this usually at the end of the day, and you say, okay, today the evaluation of the day is very much based on the results. So if the results are very low, of course the evaluation of the day is going to be very bad. And if it is bad, you should write something. Like for example, here I got a 6 out of 10 day, which is not very good. It's quite low compared to the others. And I wrote down a specific description. In this case, I got overwhelmed by a lot of emails that I had to answer. So I pretty much got overwhelmed by it, and that's why the whole day went very low. But write down a description. Why did you mess up? It doesn't need to be extremely explanatory. It can just be a 1 line, 2 line, but explain why it went bad. Here, this column, I call it need hours and rewards. It's the picture. It's the picture that you assign yourself, and you just say, okay, this is really good. I had a very good day. So I write down a shiny trophy. Or maybe it wasn't that good of a day. So it's just a normal trophy, or maybe it was a kind of a bad day, so it's sort of a bird. It's a bird, it's an eagle. It's still a pretty noble bird, but it's not as cool as a trophy in my opinion. So you have this reward image system that sort of, to me, it was nice because I would draw something that makes me feel good. Okay, it's almost like a medal that you give yourself. Okay. So it feels good when you have a good day because you give yourself a good medal. If it was a bad day, you don't give yourself any medal. And if you didn't study at all, I used to give myself a skull. So death, like very bad. I don't want to see many skulls in my study journal, So that helps. That actually helps. So that is good. Then here we have the other objectives that I usually have. This is my routine, and it's something that I do in the beginning and at the end. And here are other objectives that are related to my health, because health should be on your top list of objectives aside from studying. Okay, so it's something that I keep count on as well, and I just if I did that thing, I would just write it If I didn't, I will just leave it blank, and that's my health objectives for the day, which are all the same, they are all repeated over time. And here instead I have an extra column for when few things pops up during the day that maybe requires my attention. This can happen very often during your university time. Maybe the professor tells you a new deadline, or you receive a very important email that requires all your attention, so you just shut it down and just go ahead with it. Or if you can do it later, just shut it down and in the day afterwards, or if you are at the computer, you can do it immediately. I write down in the calendar the things that pops up during the day. A study journal can be very effective. First, because you write down very clearly what you should do, and you write down and record whether you achieved it or not. And that can be very helpful and really keep you on track, because when you have to write down that you did something wrong and that you didn't achieve something, it's a part of you just don't want to do it, so it will push you to actually work and don't write down that bad review. Here I use, for example, a reward system based on pictures, and I like to see many of the good pictures here, which are trophies. These are trophies. And if I see a few ones that are not so good, this is an eagle, it's still good, but it's not that good. If I don't see as many trophies, I kind of get sad about it. So it might sound silly, but it does work very well in saying, oh man, I really sucked that day, I don't want to put another one of those in my study journal because I want my study journal to be very good, So this can help you. It's sort of push you into action, because you don't want to acknowledge that you sucked that day. But of course, there's going to be some day that just sucks. Maybe because some unexpected things pops up, or maybe you just feel very, very down that day. It can happen that some days you're not as effective as others, but recording them really, really helps. You need to measure yourself if you want to improve. Otherwise, how can you tell if you're doing well or not? That's why you need to jot down the objectives and evaluate if you achieve them and how well you achieve them. If you don't do that, you're fooling yourself, because you're not measuring what you're actually doing. And if you don't have an aim, if you don't have an objective, you're not going to hit it 100%. So you need to have an objective, and you need to aim at it, and you need to write it down and record it. Did I do well? Did I not do well? Evaluate yourself and keep yourself on track. And one great thing that this study journal specifically emphasizes is the health. So the health column, as I showed you here, the health column, these are a bunch of small health objectives that I write down. So sleep, did I sleep a lot? Did I exercise? Did I not? And other stuff that can be related to your health. And this is extremely, extremely useful. Ever since I took into account health, I've been suffering way less, because I'm actually doing the things that help my mental health and my physical health. And just by aiming at it, it just improved radically. I just don't feel as bad as I did before. I just don't feel as tired. It really, really helps. So definitely consider put some health objectives as well, and not only study objectives. So this is my study journal, and basically here I wrote down everything. This is where I keep everything that I do regarding my studies. However, I do use the calendar on my MacBook or on my phone. You can do the same. You don't need to buy anything. You just have a phone, you just have a MacBook. You just write down, or a PC, you just write down what you have to do, the days, the deadlines, the exams on your calendar, and you just keep everything on track. So to summarize, time management should be extremely easy. It should be 15 minutes, 5 minutes top every day. You just write down all the objectives for the day, and you just don't think about it. You do this by looking at the calendar where everything is recorded. The calendar is the long-term archive of what you have to do. And you just leave it there in your phone, PC, MacBook, whatever it is. You write down during the day. You just need to bring your notebook with you, and you're gonna jot down your objective for a day based on what you see on the calendar. So you see, okay, in 7 days I have an exam, I should really, focus on this subject, or this particular chapter, and so on and so on, and you write it down in your objectives. Maybe you go to lessons and new things pops up that you need to take care of, so you write them in the column of the things that pops up during the day. And if you are away from your computer, you can only write it down here, and then the day afterward, the morning afterwards, you just update your calendar. Or if you have your computer, you can just, of course, type in the calendar the new deadline, or the new exam date, or these sort of things. So the calendar is really key. You always write your objectives based on the calendar and what you see on it. I have an exam that day, an essay the other, and things like that. Calendar is the fundamental archive, and you just leave it there. And this, you just bring it with you and you write down everything as I told you. And I was actually able with this type of method to ace every single exam in my freshman year. It was absolutely amazing. So remember to organize at the beginning, and then don't think about it anymore. Just jot down things if they pops up during the day, or just write in your computer, but don't think about it anymore. You just have your objective, you know what they are, you can reopen it if you forget, but don't think about it anymore. Just focus on the objective and achieve them. Guys, I hope this video was helpful to you. It definitely was for me very helpful to use these techniques, so I hope they will help you too. Guys, thank you for watching. Remember to like this video and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you later. See you guys.